Hello everyone, Joel here. After months neglecting other games besides turn-based and tactical RPGs, I think it's a perfect time to finally venture back to the other genre. In this video, we will be discussing about some of the best new Metroidvania that you should play in 2025. It's been a while since we're talking about Metroidvania in general, so I hope this can be a start of a new chapter for this genre in the future. And since we'll be talking about new games, the number on this list will not representing the ranking of the games. But before we go into the list, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. Your transactions are legit, fast, and their supports are ready 24/7, so you don't need to worry about anything. Do you think I was done? Not even close. They have lots of games for your favorite platforms, and they have the best deals as well. Instead of cutting your budget for dinner to buy new games, why not try Instant Gaming and eat healthy as well? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. There's a special rhythm to a good Metroidvania, and Twilight Monk finds it with confidence. Inspired by Tren Kanyuga's graphic novels, the game drops you into the sandals of Raziel, a brooding young Moonken monk who inherits the Phantom Pillar and the heavy duty of stopping the traitorous Nox before he can awaken the World Eater. Where Twilight Monk really shines is in its design. Platforming and combat feel crisp, rewarding every swing, jump, and dodge. The genre's classic loop of unlocking traversal abilities like double jumps, slides, and helpers keeps exploration fresh, while a clever hunting system pushes you to engage with every monster instead of skipping fights. The game's overworld, reminiscent of JRPGs, expands the scope beyond the usual interlocking corridors, though its random encounter-style skirmishes can start to wear thin later on. Beneath its eyebrow-raising title lies a surprisingly strong Metroidvania that feels more like a love letter to old PC action adventures than a modern throwback. Cosmobreeder Yiffai deliberately leans into retro design, muted colors, long screen transitions, sparse backgrounds, and minimal quality of life conveniences. The controls can be stiff at first, and the absence of quick access features like a map button can frustrate, but the design balances this with progression. As upgrades unlock, movement becomes more fluid, and the combat system reveals its depth. There's also an XP system, consumables, and even a cheat menu that unlocks after repeated deaths, but the real reward comes from persistence to beat the challenges. The sequel to Gal Guardian's Demon Purge wastes no time in proving it has its own identity. Servants of the Dark introduces new heroines, Kirika and Masha, whose journey begins after the betrayal of their fellow mate Lysa. With their lord reduced to a talking skull, the two must restore their shattered castle and reclaim the souls of its fallen servants. Gameplay embraces the Metroidvania formula with confidence. The interconnected map encourages exploration, now more open-ended than its predecessor. Progression revolves around collecting Maxim's bones, a central currency exchange for upgrades and new traversal abilities like mid-air dashes or extra jumps. Combat is also quick and versatile. Kirika fights with ranged guns, Masha with her whip, and swapping between them is seamless. Zexion sets out to capture the spirit of classic Metroid-style adventures, and it does so with surprising confidence. At first, its movement and map design feel tight and almost restrictive, but after the first couple of hours, the game begins to unfold, revealing a world that encourages exploration, secrets, and multiple routes forward. Combat is driven by twin-stick controls, giving it a modern edge while still leaning on retro difficulty. Enemies and bosses don't hesitate to punish mistakes. Some of the faster, more aggressive encounters can feel overwhelming at first, but once you match that aggression, battles become tense and satisfying duels. The map system is also simple but effective, showing connections, items, and secrets, and recent developer updates have improved its usability. Primal Planet doesn't need words to tell its story. From the moment you step into its lush jungles with your wife, daughter, and loyal pet dinosaur Sino, it's clear this is a game about life, family, and survival in a dangerous yet vibrant world. The game thrives on movement and exploration. Your caveman can chain rolls into long jumps, plant spears as makeshift platforms, and gradually expand his skills by crafting upgrades. Resources are needed, yet never grindy, and most encounters can be avoided if you'd rather explore than fight. The true highlight, however, is the pixel art world itself. Jungles teeming with life, oceans glowing with bioluminescent creatures, and later, the strange intrusion of mysterious machines. Even when its structure stumbles near the end, Primal Planet remains a heartfelt and beautiful journey that's worth experiencing. Some Metroidvanias sprawl endlessly, piling on systems and combat, but Quarion takes the opposite approach. It's short, sweet, and laser-focused on what it does best, platforming and exploration. In just a couple of hours, it delivers one of the most satisfying experiences you can get for the price, with enough secrets and extras to tempt you back for more. What really makes Quarion shine is its controls. Every jump, roll, and traversal ability feels responsive, which is crucial when the game throws tricky platforming gauntlets your way. Deaths never feel cheap, and the precision encourages you to try again, confidently proving that success really depends on skill. Clocking in at around 2.5 hours for the standard ending. With a harder mode and hidden true ending for completionists, Quarion is proof that a compact Metroidvania can still deliver big rewards. Bringing a cult classic back to modern players is never simple, but space adventure Cobra: The Awakening does exactly that by adapting the first arc of the 1982 anime into a side-scrolling adventure. It places you in control of Cobra, the suave outlaw armed with his signature psycho gun, and throws you across a string of flashy intergalactic encounters that strike a fine balance between campy nostalgia and straightforward action. The game's strongest moments come from its ability set. Cobra can dash, slide, and combine multiple weapons at once, with puzzles and combat often demanding a mix of skill and improvisation. Collectibles can also boost your stats and unlock new options, giving the campaign a steady sense of progression despite its linearity. Katanaut blends the brutal elegance of Dead Cells with a dose of Metroidvania and sci-fi body horror. You play as one of the last survivors of a doomed ship, cutting through grotesque alien hordes in fast, punishing runs. Death is inevitable, but instead of punishment, it's progression, like memories, upgrades, and weapons carry forward, allowing each resurrection to feel like a step toward mastery. The build system is deceptively intricate. 3 damage types, which are kinetic, ether, and combat, intertwine across katanas, skills, and secondary weapons, while perks and temporary syringes push you to experiment. The synth-driven soundtrack and monstrous designs also sell the atmosphere, while the tight, responsive controls ensure that every death feels fair. crashing on a strange planet is a familiar setup in Metroidvanias, but Ascent DX proves that even a well-worn premise can feel fresh when delivered with heart. Originally created in just 2 weeks for Low-Res Jam 2022, solo developer Johan Peitz has expanded that prototype into a more complete adventure, doubling its size, polishing its visuals, and adding lore, challenges, and even a save system. At its core, Ascent DX is a compact Metroidvania about exploration, upgrades, and unreachable paths waiting to be unlocked. What sets it apart is the emotional weight layered into its short runtime. Storytelling comes through text snippets, scattered orbs tied to a lost civilization, and radio messages from home that carry a bittersweet reminder of a life now out of reach. Combined with thoughtful level design, tight pixel visuals, and an atmospheric chiptune soundtrack, the world feels larger and more mysterious than its small footprint suggests. Releasing on the very same day as Hollow Knight Silksong may seem like a curse, but Adventure of Samsara deserves attention in its own right. Developed by Brazilian studio Elex Games over more than a decade, this retro-styled Metroidvania draws less from the speed and fluidity of modern genre staples, and more from the deliberate weight of Prince of Persia, Super Metroid, and even Atari's 1980 classic adventure. You play as a solar-powered champion, tasked with restoring balance to a fractured multiverse, battling necromancers, and aiding scattered communities known as the Orphics. The journey spans 10 distinct biomes, from icy medieval wastelands to insect-ridden caverns, each brought to life with striking pixel art and somber atmospheric soundscapes. Combat is also deliberate, leaning closer to Blasphemous or a Souls-like duel than to fast-paced hack and slash. Guns of Fury is a rare blend of run-and-gun chaos and Metroidvania structure that feels both familiar and fresh. Developed by the two-man team at Gelato Games, it channels the explosive spectacle of Metal Slug while layering in the progression, exploration, and backtracking that define the genre. The story leans into 80s action movie tropes, like burning cities, rogue CEOs, giant mechs, and sets the stage for a campaign that rarely lets up. Combat is tight and responsive, with an arsenal of handguns, rifles, RPGs, and gadgets that all feel distinct thanks to unique animations and effects. Exploration is guided by a well-designed map and bolstered by thoughtful quality-of-life touches, like pin systems, fully restorative save rooms, and teleporting between discovered points once unlocked. Somber Echoes arrives in a crowded Metroidvania landscape with an intriguing mix of Greek mythology, sci-fi horror, and fast, precision-driven combat. You play as Adrestia, waking aboard the Atromitos with little memory but a single goal, which is to stop her twin sister Harmonia before she unravels the universe. Where the game shines is in its movement. Adrestia's ability to transform into a ball of light allows for omnidirectional dashes, giving the map a strong vertical flow. The mechanic stays fun even hours in, doubling as both traversal and puzzle-solving tool. Combat, meanwhile, is brisk and punishing. Weapons like swords, spears, and axes can be upgraded, and a parry system also adds bite, though cramped corridors and overly dark environments sometimes make encounters feel unfair. Few games this year capture the essence of dark fantasy as confidently as Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree. Set in the ruined land of Faeldoom, the game places you in the role of an inquisitor who breaks free from blind servitude to the king priest. While the central story is serviceable, the real strength lies in how the world unfolds, offering layers of lore, hidden conversations, and environmental details that reward the attentive. Exploration is the heart of this game. Its sprawling landscapes are dense with secrets, optional paths, and challenging encounters that encourage careful observation. The Metroidvania-like progression, complete with tools such as a grappling hook, ensures every region feels meaningful to traverse. Combat is also equally rewarding, giving players 6 distinct classes to master. It's supported by deep skill trees and versatile equipment systems. Chronicles of the Wolf arrives as both a tribute to the roots of the Metroidvania genre and a bold statement from Megami Games, a studio long celebrated for its Castlevania-inspired fan projects. Drawing from the real history of the Beast of Gévaudan, the game weaves a gothic narrative grounded in folklore but expanded through supernatural twists. The world is vast, interconnected, and filled with secrets that gradually unfold as new abilities unlock paths once closed. Familiar powers like double jumps and air dashes return, but the game also introduces mechanics, such as a versatile slide, that add depth both to traversal and combat encounters. Progression ties neatly into this loop, with each upgrade meaningfully tied to advancing through challenges or uncovering hidden routes. That said, stiff movement, sparse quest guidance, and occasional spikes in difficulty can frustrate some players. Yet for those who embrace its roots, these qualities feel authentic rather than flawed. After more than a decade in silence, Joe Musashi's return in Shinobi Art of Vengeance feels like a celebration of everything that made the series legendary. Lizard Cube, best known for Streets of Rage 4, delivers a 2D platformer that is both strikingly modern and faithful to its roots. What stands out first is the visual presentation. Every level, from grim laboratories to bustling markets, bursts with detail and fluid animation, giving Joe's acrobatics and deadly strikes the weight and flair they deserve. Combat is smooth and varied, with unlockable combos, special attacks, and a grappling hook that adds depth to both fighting and platforming. Boss encounters are a highlight, designed around specific abilities and forcing players to adapt. Accessibility options also ensure players of all skill levels can enjoy the challenge, while secrets tucked away in each stage reward mastery with powerful upgrades. O is one of those rare puzzle platformers that proves less can truly be more. At first glance, it might look like a small, quirky Metroidvania, but spend even a few minutes with it and you'll realize it's one of the best games released in 2025. You begin as a caterpillar whose body is made of bombs, and the only way to jump or move beyond obstacles is to place and detonate them. This simple mechanic quickly expands into a deep and inventive system where every new challenge feels like a test of creativity. Unlike most Metroidvanias, you don't unlock new abilities or extra tools over time. Instead, you're pushed to think differently about the tools you already have. Areas that first seemed unreachable suddenly become accessible when you learn a smarter way to chain bomb placements. The design is tight, the pacing fast, and thanks to plentiful checkpoints, the game never punishes experimentation. BLADECHIMERA is one of this year's most confident action-focused Metroidvanias, a game that knows exactly what it wants to be and executes on that vision with precision. Set in a ruined Osaka where demons roam freely, you take control of Shin, an amnesiac warrior bound to a mysterious spirit named Lux. This partnership grants you the Lumina Blade, a weapon that doubles as both a devastating tool in battles and a clever puzzle-solving device. Every strike, shot, and recall of the Lumina Blade feels weighty and satisfying, with responsive movement that makes traversal as exciting as the battles themselves. Exploration is also streamlined, with a clear objective system that prevents unnecessary wandering while still rewarding players who stray off the main path with upgrades and collectibles. Shantae Advance: Risky Revolution is more than just another sequel. It's a revival of a game that once thought lost to time. Originally conceived in the early 2000s as the second entry in the series, it was shelved due to publishing woes, only to be completed decades later and brought to modern platforms. The story is lighthearted and familiar, with Shantae facing off against the ever-scheming Risky Boots, who now wields the Tremor engine to reshape Sequin Land. Gameplay leans into classic Metroidvania design, with creature transformations once again serving as the backbone of exploration. Where Risky Revolution distinguishes itself is in its world-swapping mechanic, letting players explore alternate versions of regions affected by Risky's meddling. Combat also remains straightforward, enhanced by upgrades and spells, while optional modes including a battle arena give fans more to experiment with. The Metroidvania renaissance has been kind to fans, and among them, the Ender series has carved its own niche. Ender Magnolia proves a worthy successor to 2021's beloved Ender Lilies. It's a sequel that refines, evolves, and deepens without losing the fragile melancholy that defined the original. This time, players step into the role of Lilac, a young attuner who awakens without memory in a crumbling city overrun by maddened homunculi. Like before, she doesn't fight alone. Instead, the guardians she tunes to act as her weapons, each with unique styles that can be freely mixed and upgraded. Bosses demand experimentation, encouraging players to swap abilities and tailor builds around burning, freezing, or countering foes. Combat is also tighter than before, thanks to smarter tweaks like the removal of contact damage, while traversal flows smoothly with dashes, grapples, and double jumps unlocking at a brisk pace. After years of anticipation, Hollow Knight Silksong finally emerges, and it more than justifies the wait. Team Cherry has crafted a sequel that builds on the original's foundation while offering its own identity, with Hornet taking center stage as a more expressive and driven protagonist. Her presence immediately changes the tone. Where the knight was silent, Hornet's voice and determination make the story clearer and more personal. The new land of Farloom is breathtaking, both in its design and its themes. From crumbling coral canyons to the clockwork splendor of the Citadel, every region brims with visual beauty and layered secrets. Exploration feels purposeful, with branching routes that reward curiosity and a map system that makes tracking progress less punishing. The silk-based healing system balances risk and reward, giving even the toughest encounters a sense of fairness. Tools and crafts also expand customization, letting players tailor builds to their style while encouraging experimentation. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other new Metroidvania that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best new Metroidvania that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!